Hey, what's up, guys? I was just thinking recently about the Michigan primary and the aftermath, everything that came after has come after so far. And um, first off, I want to congratulate all the progressives for winning their primaries. Donovan McKinney, Lawrence Williams. There was some more. Also congratulate, Abdul for winning, beating, $60 million spent against him. That is great. But there's this thing that really irks me, and that for progressives, as a progressive, even if you're a capitalist like Abdul is, he made that very clear a year ago. As a progressive, you constantly have to defend every policy position that you might advocate for. Or, if you are a DSA candidate, you have to defend the national platform, every goddamn day. And it's it's gotten to the point where I feel like it's actually being exhausted. Now, I don't really have any proof for that, but you see like Abdul going on every damn show that is that will have him on, and they hammer him on the same with the same questions over and over and over again. And that's, how do you pay for Medicare for all? How are you going to do this or going to do that? And he gives them the same answer, right? We're going to tax billionaires their wealth. We're going to end foreign aid for belligerent states. We're going to end funding, endless war. And, that's going to help pay for this. And ultimately, taxpayers are going to pay less for healthcare, even if taxes do go up, right? Because they're not having to pay copays, they're not going to have to pay premiums, and they're not going to have to incur medical debt. And he goes on every show and he says this time and time again, and yet it just they try to exhaust it, right? Where it's like they want him and other progressives to just back away from the things that they are advocating for. And it shows that two-tier media environment where if you're progressive, you have to do this. You have to keep hammering the point that you are for these policies. But if you're on the if you are a right winger, if you're a Republican, or if you are, a centrist Democrat, you don't have to defend anything. I mean, when you have Abdul doing all these shows and they're asking this question over and over again, you have Mike Rogers, as an example, that's going on like Fox and every other, right wing news station, and they're just, basically laughing it up as he is just spouting Islamophobia again and again and again. He's offering zero zero fucking policy. And it's like, what are you guys even doing? You're just basically doing a circle jerk at this point, with, being, while, um, uh, platforming bigotry. And then if Mike Rogers does go on, and Mike Rogers and any Republican go on, any liberal media, they don't get asked about their policy choices into uh, uh, how to implement that policy, because everything is just treated as another day. You have people like Randy Fine that get to go on news shows all the time, and he is a total bigot. You have Brandon Gill going on shows. You have again Mike Rogers going on shows and just being awful people. They have no policy, but they don't get pushed on that. And it's really mind-boggling and infuriating that they can sit on, a panel and talk to people and not get asked why they are, why they have a history of pushing for, surveillance on American citizens like Mike Rogers did, or ask them why, did you take so much money from, pharma lobbyists, and push legislation or advocate for legislation that would push opioids, into more to more patients, creating the opioid crisis. Why aren't they asking him about that? Day after day after day, every show he goes on. Why is he not being asked about stuff like that? It I want it to make sense, and I want someone to actually do the fucking work and ask these questions.